Yes! Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Completionist. Now before we start today, a huge thank you to Matt and Ryan who guest starred for this week's art. Ryan and Matt, for those of you who don't know, officially work on the Mega Man Archie comics, so it's truly an honor to have them help out with this final episode in the Anniversary Collection pack. Today we continue our final conquest of the Mega Man Anniversary Collection. We're focusing on what many would consider to be the black sheep of the Mega Man series, but even though this game gets a ton of flack, we gotta see it through to the very end. So let's really see what the big deal really is in regards to Mega Man 8. As we finish up the Mega Man Anniversary Collection, I want to address the fun elephant in the room of the newly released Mega Man Anniversary Legacy Collection. People were outraged that the Legacy Edition didn't include Mega Man 7, 8, 9, and 10. Well, 9 and 10 are the most attuned with what Mega Man used to be, but 7 and 8 are so drastically different, the 1 through 6 Legacy feels cohesive, so it makes sense this way. 7's my favorite, and 8 is the only one I haven't actually played. Mega Man 8 was first released on the original PlayStation in December of 1996, and on the Sega Saturn the following year, receiving subpar ratings on both systems. In terms of where the saga stood at the time of the game's release, Mega Man 8 was riding the hot coals of the 7 hype train. Mega Man 8 was celebrating not only the first of the Mega Man games to be released on the next-gen platforms of the time, but it was also the 10th anniversary of the Mega Man series. All of this, and the fact that it was following up the darker and more gritty Mega Man 7, 8 put a lot of expectations on Keiji Inafune and the developers at Capcom. Where were they going to take this on this fresh, sleek new adventure? I mean, let's not forget, in Mega Man 7, Rockman was seconds away from killing Dr. Wiley in cold blood. Or cold gears. Refrigerator? Wires? Whatever Mega Man has inside of him. Mega Man was primed to blast his way through Dr. Wiley's chest. Just put one right in his chest, Mega Man. But as we've known Mega Man on this Anniversary Collection, Wiley gets away every single time. So let's see if 8 proves to be any different. Although there is a 9 and 10, so I'm going to say no.
Now the world is mine! Gotcha!
Since we've already completed all of the preceding Mega Man series titles, I won't go into the backstory too much, although a few sentences should do. Good Robot Mega Man, built by good Dr. Light. Mega Man has sister named Roll, brother named Proto Man, Dr. Wowie, evil, world domination. Don't worry, I'll get to Dr. Wowie when we get to presentation. Dr. Wowie creates 8 robot masters for Mega Man to beat up, twice. That's basically Mega Man summed up in a few sentences. In regards to the actual plot in Mega Man 8, our story begins with an epic animated space battle between 2 alien robots in deep space. The 2 robots come hurling toward Earth at breaknecking speeds and crash into a small island. So far, so epic. Meanwhile, we catch up with Mega Man in another battle for superiority with Bass. It's as if the story from Mega Man 7 actually continues in this game for a bit. But then, the weird starts. They decide to talk.
Mega Man, today we finish this.
Hey, Bass! Why must I fight you? We are not enemies!
Shut up.
Roll! Mega Man, hurry! You must come with me!
You can't leave yet.
Something this powerful must not fall into the hands of evil.
As Mega Man and Bass are in the middle of a spirited little skirmish, a far-off tremor catches their attention, and Roll interrupts the fight. Roll delivers a message to Mega Man from Dr. Light, asking Mega Man to investigate the energies emanating from an island nearby. As Mega Man arrives, he finds that Dr. Wowie has beaten him to the chase, and runs off with a mysterious purple orb. Mega Man also discovers a huge robot at the point of impact, and Dr. Light takes it back to his lab for further analysis. That's where the rest of the story continues the standard of the Mega Man structure. Dr. Wowie then releases 4 new robots to fight Mega Man: Frost Man, Tengu Man, Grenade Man, and Clown Man. Yes, you heard me right. Clown Man.
I'll make you join my man.
He's a robot clown. After beating each of these boss, Mega Man receives one of the purple orbs that Dr. Wiley found, and of course, a special power reminiscent of the bot that was just defeated. After beating the 4th robot, Mega Man takes the 4 purple orbs he's culled from each robot to Dr. Light. Mega Man and Dr. Light check in on the mysterious evil giant-looking robot, but sees he hasn't come to yet. Dr. Light sees that the orbs generate a powerful deadly energy and claims that they cannot fall into the hands of Dr. Wiley. When Dr. Light and Mega Man leave the room, the alien robot wakes up, sees the orbs, gets pissed off, and leaves through his own hole-shaped door in the ceiling. Okay, things are starting to feel a little haphazard here. Mega Man and Rush chase after him. Our awesome brother Proto Man appears and points out that Dr. Wiley has a new secret base, and that's where the mysterious robot was headed. Our heroes find Dr. Wiley's secret tower, but are then assaulted by Dr. Wiley's giant robot. Enter the mysterious robot, who then introduces himself as Duo and saves Mega Man from the giant Dr. Wiley bot. Thanks, dude, your name means 2 things, but you're only one thing. Then, 4 more robot masters show up on the HUD. Astro Man, Sword Man, Search Man, and Aquaman. How many different ways can Capcom come up with elemental names that mean the same thing? You know, the storyline isn't actually half bad. I'm intrigued by it quite a bit. It could have been worse. It actually takes a charming approach to what we've known in the previous games. It acts as if it's a new season of a TV show where it expects you to understand how far along you are in the series, which up to this point, every Mega Man game from 1 through 6 assumes you never played a Mega Man game before. I appreciate that. Let's see what the aesthetics have in store for us. So, there's a little weird with Mega Man 8. There's actually a lot weird with how this game is presented. The first thing we have to take into account is the expectations attached to the release of this game, given it being the first on the next-gen consoles of the time and its 10-year anniversary as a franchise. That being said, Mega Man 8 mostly feels to me like Capcom, in order to celebrate their most popular series, made a Mega Man that would have next-gen big-budget production value, with the story easy enough for everyone to follow, and gameplay simple enough to grab those few who are unfamiliar with the series. I say mostly because Mega Man 8 delivers on a few of those things here and there. Maybe. In terms of appearance, Mega Man 8 looks great. I, for one, don't mind the graphic overhaul. It's one thing to say the game sucks, but honestly, comparing the later games to the NES ones is like saying, I want to see pixels and a movie that's good. Alright, that one may be a little more harsh than intended, but you get the point. There is definitely something ceremonial about Mega Man 8. As the 10th anniversary release, it seems to be more a vehicle to play an original new exciting game that's got nothing to do with Mega Man, rather than an excellent game in its own right that reminds everyone about the legacy of the Blue Bomber. This game is also the first Mega Man to feature anime-style cutscenes, which I would be all for, except that they're terrible. The voice acting in this game completely takes you out of the story. Mega Man almost sounds like a 5-year-old girl.
Why must I fight you? We are not enemies!
That's not a bad thing. It just doesn't really match the art style and what we're going for here. I get that he's programmed to look, act, and feel like a young boy, but after the intense conclusion of Mega Man 7, I did not expect the weak, fluty voice they chose for these cutscenes. What's worse is that these actors actually ended up being used for the first X game on the PS1, Mega Man X4. It's very apparent. All of the voiceover acting in the cutscenes is shoddy at best, even for 1996.
This guy is unbelievable.
The voice of Duo is completely disproportionate to his body.
I was born with the sole purpose.
Whoever voiced Rush, I can only guess, was drunk and doing an impression of a dog that can't howl. Apparently, the voice actors weren't told that Bass's name was a music pun, as they say his name as Bass, as in a fish.
Hey, Bass!
Hold on, wait there 1 second. How about the time where Mega Man screams for 20 seconds straight while being electrocuted? Last, but certainly not least, in this monstrosity of the voice acting, Dr. Light. Holy crap, Dr. Light. Dr. Light sounds a lot like Rick from Rick and Morty, except not. In fact, all of the adults in this game world sound like they've been drinking a little bit too much.
I'm impressed. I didn't think you'd make it this far, Mega Man!
From Dr. Light clearly puke burping to Mega Man himself sounding like Ash Ketchum's prepubescent brother. Actually, story-wise, this all makes sense. In a world where all the adults, including the mad scientists, are constantly hammered, it's no wonder that a robot kid has to save the world this many times. He's the only one walking around with any kind of self-awareness. Do you think I'm being too harsh? That I'm joking in this? Let's take a look at this scene uncut.
You must recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
But where is Dr. Wiley?
That's a good question. We may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wiley.
That's why Dr. Wiley is Dr. Wiley. As for the music, it fits the themes of the levels quite nicely. Level designs are a lot more intuitive than I once thought. While I really believe that all the robot masters in this game are downright horrible, their levels on the other hand reflect a completely different entity for me. The theming and the design aspects are really quite impressive. My favorite section in the game is whenever Mega Man turns into a side-scrolling bullet hell shooter. Collecting the character power-ups along the way, these sections of the game show that Mega Man can go a lot more outside of his own genre than once perceived. However, the love for me isn't there in the snowboarding sections of the game, where you'll have to jump and slide according to the little robot voice and picture. And it's already pretty hard to control when you're dealing with enemies and the uncertainty of pathways. But aside from its really bad voice acting, Mega Man 8's presentation is actually pretty alright.
See you in my dreams.
Standard is as standard does, and the base of Mega Man 8 follows the originals quite well while making some pretty solid advancements for the series. It plays just like its predecessors, the different weapons are easy to chain through in a moment's notice, and each boss has an attack pattern that you have to find a rhythm against in order to defeat them. I will say too that all the boss weapons are a lot more interesting this time around. The Flame Sword is something I'm glad made into Smash Bros, and Rush is utilized way more differently in this one. We've got Rush Bike, Rush Search, which really is like a here's a free item, Rush Bomb, which is pretty insane, and Rush Medevac. I don't know if these names are right or wrong, but look at this. Rush is literally dropping all kinds of stuff here that's health-based and weapon-based. So with all this said, my only criticism towards the gameplay is the tempo. The game's story flow and combat tempo feels a bit slower to me than the previous titles. I don't know if it's a matter of a dev's first attempt at creating a title for a next-gen system, or because they were trying to make a game that would be easier to play for a wider audience because, hey, it's their 10th anniversary and they wanted to make a little extra money. Now, before we begin to really dissect this stuff, I have to point out I've reviewed the other 7 Mega Man games on the Mega Man Anniversary Collection for the Xbox on my Xbox 360. Apparently, for Mega Man 8, that's really bad, as there are some problems. The emulation for the 360 to the original Xbox is weird. Mega Man's not feeling so well here, and oh dear God, I think Rush needs to go back to seeing Dr. Light. This did result in me having to go back and play it on the PS1 and on my own time, painstakingly mind you, replay the entirety of 8 off camera on the Xbox 360 as well. Yay! Double completing. Slightly teased in Mega Man 7, Mega Man 8 has a currency trade system involving these bolts. There's 40 bolts in the game, some being displayed blatantly in sight, with others being a lot less obvious or needing particular power-ups and gaming skill. Yes, there are a few bolts that will require the best of your skills. These bolts offer a fair amount of progression for Mega Man as a character. Power-ups like don't flinch when you get hit, shoot another arrow-based charge with the Mega Buster when it hits someone else, faster charging, faster sliding, better energy consumption, the list goes on. You can't unlock every upgrade in the game, so pick wisely. One of the biggest revelations for the series is actually right here in Mega Man 8. Are you ready for it? One word, swimming. That's right, Mega Man can actually swim for once. And the controls are actually pretty good. There's a section in Aquaman's stage where you have to maneuver around some spikes, and I was worried I was going to die all the time. Nope. Thanks to the solid controls and design of the swimming mechanics, it was pretty easy to navigate through. But the bigger surprise for me in the game is how much fun Mega Man 8 is. Yes, some of the bosses do suffer from Spark Mandrill syndrome, but overall, the game is a blast to play. Even if all of the bosses do sound super creepy and weird.
Like it's my turn. I'm Aquaman.
After defeating all 8 robot masters and getting all the upgrades of your choice with the 40 bolts, it's time to take down Dr. Wiley's underground castle tower. In my opinion, this is the first castle in this series that really has me feel like we're going somewhere with regard to the literal location inside of the castle. The design work put into each level is great. Although I really hate the snowboarding opening of Wiley Stage 1. I spent, no joke, 45 minutes on just that intro segment. Stage 2 is more bullet hell shoot 'em up fun, which I absolutely adore. And Stage 3 features a fight with Bass in Trouble, which eventually leads to the classic Yellow Devil with a bit of an upgrade. He's green, more jello than anything, and is a lot easier to put down this time around with the Electric Claw. The final stage, of course, is the boss rush into the final fight with Dr. Wiley. Wiley has 2 forms, both of which are pretty easy once you figure out the patterns. The ending of Mega Man 8 actually has some plot development. Mega Man, once he's defeated Dr. Wiley, gets attacked by a large mass of the evil energy. The place blows up, or at least it alludes to that, and Duo finds Mega Man slowly dying. Duo then turns his hand into some form of healing thing and looks into the mind of Mega Man. Duo extracts the evil orb from Mega Man's body and knows that Mega Man will be the savior and future of the planet. Before Duo leaves, he runs into Proto Man and asks for a favor. Flash forward to Mega Man waking up, and everything seems a-okay. Mega Man is then left in the state of wonder. What happened to Duo? Proto Man then fulfills his favor to Duo and tells Mega Man the following message.
He said, "Thank you."
A big favor indeed there, Proto Man. It's a fun story that wraps up somewhat nicely, but my big question here is, in the beginning of the game, there were 2 robots. We know that Duo was the good robot. What the hell happened to the bad robot? He should have been the villain, or at least had a more prominent role in the fate of Dr. Wiley's antics. Now, there is no specific completion bonus for completing Mega Man 8, but since this marks the end of our Mega Man Anniversary Collection review pack, let's talk about the completion bonus for that, as well as the version differences of the PS1 and Saturn version of Mega Man 8. If you own the game on the Sega Saturn, you're in luck. You can find 2 of the old school bosses in the game. Cut Man is in Duo's mini stage, and Woodman is in Searchman stage. The Cut Man fight is optional, while Woodman's mini boss fight is mandatory. The Sega Saturn version also has bonus mode that includes official and fan artwork, as well as some cuts of music and voiceovers they didn't use. Wait, what? If the ones they used were terrible, the bonus mode cuts just might give me nightmares. If you are playing the Anniversary Collection Pack, you get 2 bonus games, Mega Man The Power Battle and Mega Man 2 The Power Fighters. Both are linear arcade-style fighting games that were previously only released in arcades in Japan. To unlock the Power Battles, you'll have to beat all 8 Robot Masters in Mega Man 3. And to unlock the Power Fighters, just beat the first 4 Robot Masters in Mega Man 7. I feel they actually serve as a great little Blue Bomber training dojo. You fight the bosses in a linear fashion, and they increase in difficulty. And if those games aren't your thing, there's tons of bonus photos and drawings you've unlocked from beating all the games. If you're just getting into the series, this Anniversary Collection provides you with pretty much everything you'd need to give this franchise a fair shot. Mega Man 8 certainly isn't as bad as everyone says it is. To me, everyone's black mark on this game is similar to that of the scene from Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X is a fantastic game, and yet everyone loves to poke fun at that infamous laughing scene. Look, out of context, it makes no sense. But in context of the game and the story at the time, it does make sense. That's kind of what Mega Man 8 is to me. Everyone's pretty quick to judge it. It's a great game. However, I can see why people dislike it. It makes sense in that regard too. Honestly, in terms of the struggle, the game is pretty easy. There were a few moments of frustration, mainly getting some of the more difficult bolts and the snowboarding sections, but overall, I had a blast playing Mega Man 8. And while it may not be the best Mega Man to remember in this anniversary pack, it certainly is one that was a fun time. Playing Mega Man 8 after playing Mega Man 1 through 7 was a great experience that I'm glad I finally went ahead and did. Playing these games back to back is an exhilarating way to look at the history of a company and franchise. And while Capcom has been struggling a lot in recent years, it was nice to play something that was very different regardless of the hate it's received, let alone the hate the company has received. Mega Man 8 is far from perfect, that voice acting is really bad, and so are the Robot Masters, but aside from all of that, the game, in my opinion, is really underrated. So, with that in mind, guys, I give this game my completionist rating of finna play it.
Today's episode of The Completionist is brought to you in part by
Anime!
Do you ever want to watch
Anime!
any time of the day? Well, thanks to Crunchyroll, you can watch
Anime!
whenever you want. With Crunchyroll Premium, you can watch ad-free in HD just 1 after-hour release in Japan on all your favorite devices. From
Anime!
to manga to even live-action drama, you can get a Crunchyroll Premium subscription for only $6.95 a month. Wow, that's a lot of
Anime!
And if you sign up by using the link on the screen or in the description below, you'll get a 30-day premium trial free, and you can cancel at any time. Crunchyroll, because
The hell was that? That's all the time we've got for today, guys, so please, as always, let us know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. Once again, a big thank you to Ryan and Matt for their awesome work on the art for this week's episode. You can check their stuff out by really buying any Mega Man Archie comic that's been in production for the past few years. Now, if you excuse me, here's more of me sucking at the snowboarding sections in Mega Man 8, because they are absolutely the worst part of this game, in my opinion, to play. They are so hard. So let's watch all my deaths. There were a lot of them.